You know that feeling, right? When anger gets so intense, it feels like a physical takeover. That wave of heat, your heart pounding out of your chest, and you just can't think straight. Well, today we're going to explore a pretty surprising, body-based tool that's designed for exactly those moments. It's a way to literally hack your own biology and calm that inner storm. All right, so let's dive right in. Before we can really get the solution, we've got to understand the problem. I mean, what is actually happening inside your body when your anger spikes so high that logic just, poof, it's gone? Well, that state actually has a name. It's called emotional flooding. And this quote really says it all, doesn't it? Your body doesn't wait for logic to catch up. That is the absolute core of emotional flooding. It's not just a feeling, it's a full-blown physical event. Your body goes into crisis mode, and it completely hijacks your system way before your rational brain has a chance to even say, hey, wait a second. And yeah, this is so not just in your head. These are real physical symptoms. Your heart is literally beating faster. You can feel that heat rushing to your face or chest. These are all the classic signs that your body's fight or flight system has just slammed its foot on the gas pedal, getting you ready for what it thinks is a major threat. So here's the most important thing to get from all this. When your body is that amped up, the thinking part of your brain, your prefrontal cortex, the part that handles problem solving and good judgment, it basically goes offline. It's sidelined. And this isn't you making a bad choice, it's pure biology. It makes it nearly impossible to think clearly. But what if you could interrupt that whole process? What if you could use your body's own wiring to hit a kind of system reset button? Well, it turns out there's a really well-researched skill for exactly that situation. Just think about that for a second. We're not talking about a mental trick here or trying to force positive thoughts. We're talking about a physical action that can literally change your body's chemistry and pull you back from the edge in under a minute. How cool is that? Okay, so this skill is called a temperature anchor. It's a powerhouse technique from something called dialectical behavior therapy, or DBT for short. And it's what's known as a distress tolerance skill, which is really just a fancy way of saying it's a tool to help you survive those super intense moments without making things worse. It was designed for this exact kind of emotional overwhelm. So you might be thinking, how on earth can a bit of cold water do all that? It sounds like magic, right? Well, it's not magic at all. It's actually some really fascinating hardwired biology. So let's get into the science of why this works so well. The secret sauce here is something called the mammalian dive reflex. Now, this is this ancient survival reflex that we and all other mammals have built in. I'm talking seals, whales, all of us. The second our face hits cold water, it triggers this automatic response designed to help us survive underwater, mainly by conserving oxygen. Okay, a really simple way to think about your nervous system is that it has a gas pedal and a brake pedal. When you're intensely angry, that's your sympathetic system, the gas pedal, being floored. All systems go. What the dive reflex does is it slams on the brakes. It activates the parasympathetic system. This is what forces your body to slow everything down, shifting you out of that frantic fight or flight mode and into rest and digest. And we're talking about a powerful brake pedal here. Activating this reflex can slow your heart rate by as much as 25 to 30%. I mean, that is a huge physiological shift, especially when you're already in that state of high alert. It may be the best part, it is fast. This whole calming process can kick in as little as 30 seconds. That makes it one of the absolute fastest distress tolerance skills out there. So when you need to calm down right now, this is your go-to. Okay, theory time is over. Let's get super practical. You know the what and the why. So now let's talk about the most important part, the how. Here's your step-by-step guide to actually using a cold anchor and triggering that amazing dive reflex. All right, for the most powerful effect, here's what you do. You're going to want to fill a bowl or even your sink with cold water. And when I say cold, I mean cold, ideally below 50 degrees Fahrenheit or 10 Celsius. So throwing in some ice is a great idea. Then just take a deep breath, hold it, lean over, and dip your face into the water for about 15 to 30 seconds. The really key part is to make sure the cold is hitting the area right under your eyes and on your cheeks, because that's where the magic nerves for this reflex are. But look, let's be real. You're not always going to have a bowl of ice water just sitting around. The good news is you can still get a similar effect, maybe a little less intense, but still effective, with some alternatives. You can press a cold pack or, hey, even a bag of frozen peas right onto that same spot on your cheeks and under your eyes. Even just splashing cold water on your face a few times or tightly holding an ice cube in your hand can give your system that jolt it needs. Now, it's super important to manage our expectations here. The goal isn't to just magically make your anger disappear. That's not realistic. It's about downshifting. It's about taking that emotional dial from a 10 out of 10 down to maybe a 6 or a 7. Just enough to get that thinking brain of yours back online so you can create a little space, a little pause, where you actually get to make a choice about what to do next. Okay, now, because this is such a powerful physical tool, we have to talk about using it wisely and safely. This is not for when you're just a little annoyed. Think of this as the emergency brake, not the regular one. So when do you pull that emergency brake? This skill is really meant for those crisis moments. We're talking about when your anger feels like an 8, 9, or even a 10 out of 10. It's for when you're in the middle of a panic attack, or you feel that intense, overwhelming urge to do something impulsive. Basically, it's for any time you're so flooded that your logical brain has just checked out. And please listen closely because this is extremely important. Because this technique works by rapidly changing your heart rate, you must talk to your doctor before you try it if you have any kind of heart condition, a low resting heart rate, an eating disorder, or if you take medications that affect your heart rate, like beta blockers. And for anyone, if you feel dizzy, faint, or have chest pain at any point, stop immediately. Safety always comes first. I think this quote just sums it up perfectly. A temperature anchor doesn't solve the original problem. It's not going to fix what made you angry. But what it does do is it builds a bridge. It helps you survive that peak moment of crisis without doing or saying something you'll regret later. It just gives you that crucial bit of space so you can then use your other coping skills. So when you boil it all down, what this skill really does is give you the power to create a pause. It lets you interrupt that emotional hijack in its tracks. And by changing your body's chemistry, you're giving yourself the incredible gift of choice. So the real question becomes, now that you have that moment back, what will you choose to do with it?